Hello, it's Jessica Amala, and I am back with another video. Today is very laid back. I am cozy. I am actually I'm not put together at all, but I feel good. And, I'm like doing this like deep conditioning treatment on my hair and on my face, and I'm just like letting myself be like experiencing extreme moisture and I just feel good. And I was like, I also did like this like very beautiful meditation before I shot this video, and I was just channeling so much rainbow light and connecting to my ships of light. And actually I want to show you the card from the Lemurian Starchild Oracle. I was really connecting, to these beautiful light ships and really, really getting it. Just really realizing the importance and the value of my role of bringing the rainbow light of my light ships that I connect with, the angels that I connect with on those ships, and bringing that light to the earth through my heart. And so, that's an important role for me. And if you're watching this and you resonate, it might be an important role for yourself as well. And it's like it's hard to kind of come on just so kind of nakedly and just talk about that without any like I said, I'm not put together, and but I just kind of like felt like doing it. And the reason why I feel like doing it is because there's a lot of profound, deep inner healing going on right now. And the truth is that when, and I think it has a lot to do with this whole Scorpio energy that we're in, and like seeding a new beginning, where we're no longer really trapped in that trauma of the lower chakras, of the root chakra and the sacral chakra, and we're moving, like I said, up fully into the heart and activating that Merkaba heart, and so that all these little triggers that might be still be coming up, like we're able to kind of see them in a bit of a different way, like with a bit of a more, like just a little bit more objectively. Like, yeah, like this is like if someone is doing something that's, kind of not nice, like, usually I think in the past in the 3D, when you've got this like trauma, it's like, okay, either I'm gonna like be, oh, I'm just gonna like be the nicey nice person and I'm just gonna go along and go, oh yeah, that's okay. Or I'm gonna like, on the flip side, you've got the person who is gonna react as like, oh, I'm gonna get really mad at what that person just did that was inappropriate to me. And because what they did was wrong. And in this new heart space, it's like there's this new awareness. It's like, oh, this is just a situation and a person that's acting this way because they require healing. Because they require healing. And, and now that I have that healing in my heart, and I have my angels in my heart, and for myself personally, I'll also say very strongly, like that connection to the love and healing of Jesus in my heart, or any of the enlightened beings that you might connect with that resonate with you. But for me, I strongly resonate with Jesus. And from that space of love and healing of self, kind of just like being able to not really choose either of those polar responses to a trigger of somebody being like not nice to you. And so the response is just a response that's self-loving. It's like, so in my case, my example is that my mother was doing something where she was putting her own needs before other people's and being a bit controlling and slightly bullyish, which is something that she's always kind of embodied those qualities. And so I was able to just kind of see that for what it was, kind of say, I find that your behavior is like this. I find it's being a little bit putting your own needs before other people. And I don't really like that. And I kind of need to check with this other person about figuring this thing out around this situation where we have to compromise and coordinate and collaborate. And I'll get back to you. And that's it. And there's no, but there's also, because of the ability in the heart to realize that that person has become that way because they need a level of healing, even as a parent, as a mother, right? Because the inner child is always looking to the mother for a level of validation, right? But when you have that self-love in the heart, and you have that ability to self-heal and self-love in the heart, then you become your own inner parent. And then you can see the inner child of your own parent and have some compassion and just react in a way that's self-loving towards your own needs. And so this is really the evolution that we're kind of going through. And one of the cards I pulled recently, in one of my recent readings, I think for the new moon in Scorpio, I talked about this very much, about feeling these feelings and working through them and providing ourselves with that deep, deep love and healing in the heart to kind of protect us and help us kind of, I guess, fully kind of heal our inner child and move past these situations, or we'll just say move past our old reactions and the old triggers in our lower chakras to these situations that trigger the inner child or trigger the, we'll just say the emotional flashback response for good. And I don't want to say that maybe that process is fully over, but we're completing it, and that's really exciting. And there is somebody who I was watching recently who provided me with that term of like emotional flashback, which is any new trigger situation where you're kind of overly emotionally responding to it because of past situations and because of past traumas. So like, for instance, I could have, like in the past, before I had done as much healing work, if my mom did something very selfish and like really not considering my needs, I would kind of like get really upset and really triggered. And even it really, though, it was an over response to maybe that particular situation, but it was really a response to like 100 of those situations or dozens, multiple dozens of those situations before, where I had suppressed my needs and my feelings and not really learned what my true needs were and how to have them met, because I had never had the opportunity because of the dynamics that I grew up in, where I had learned, from a really young age, that my needs were always kind of secondary to the needs of my mother. So there was like a role reversal, which actually, creates in a lot of people, from actually what I've now learned, it creates like a fawn personality, fawn archetype person who basically, often attracts narcissistic partners and people who basically are just kind of looking out for their own needs because of this like polar dynamic. So the more somebody of like my childhood that I grew up in, somebody who was like constantly having to put the needs of the parent first, like it's an evolution and a healing process to evolve out of relationships where you're always putting the needs of a partner first. And I think that like if you've ever, ended up in a twin flame dynamic, a twin flame situation, or intense soulmate, like soul connection, where you have this really strong heart connection, like all those triggers are going to keep coming up until they're healed with that person, because essentially, because you're connected at the heart, everything, like I said, all this lower chakra stuff that's basically controlling your life and controlling your whole experience, and it's led you to make certain choices about relationships, is coming up to be healed and purged so that you can ascend into your heart. And that's really that's ultimately the fundamental point and purpose of the connection. And truly, because in being able to do that, we can then bring in those higher, we'll just say the angelic light, the higher frequencies, the higher vibrations of light from outside of our current time, space, dimension, and reality, and elevate the earth to a higher frequency, higher vibration. So I hope that's making sense. I kind of just decided to just like ramble and just do this because I want to make a video. I have a goal to make more videos. It's just like be myself, be out there, say, you know, my experience and what I've learned, and hope that it just like, despite the fact that I'm not put together and my hair is got coconut oil on it, that I'm changing the world with breaking the rules and speaking my truth. So laughing at myself. That's all good. We all should laugh at ourselves sometimes. So yeah, what else are we going to talk about in this video? We're going to talk about DNA and about crystalline DNA and upgrading our DNA. And we're going to talk about mitochondrial DNA specifically, which is the DNA in your body that's the most connected to the etheric realm. And it's sort of like your link to the ethers, if you will, to your light body. And your light body is basically that etheric body, which you're having all of these, if you're in a twin flame dynamic or an intense soul connection where you're having telepathic communication and feeling a person's sexual energy from anywhere in the world, that's all happening through the etheric body, and that link is through the mitochondrial DNA. So when we're talking about healing these connections, and by actually specifically targeting the healing of our mitochondrial DNA, we're doing a lot to heal the difficulties of the dynamic in those connections. And there's different ways that you can do that, but I think that it's very important to work in meditation for that. I specifically work with, because it's sort of still physical, I find that very kind of high vibrational gem elixirs work like the best for specifically doing a more physical approach to healing on the mitochondrial DNA. And then flower essences work really, really well with the meditation to actually bring the life force and the consciousness to elevate, I guess, the etheric aspect of your mitochondrial DNA. They're both really effective in different ways. I think that in terms of actually bringing light codes from the great central sun and through the galactic center and through the Sirius Stargate, through your soul star chakra, and then now into your physical body, because those are a whole series of channels from which you can bring all that pure light and love and sovereignty into your body. That to really do that in a physical way, Lemurian, we'll just say Lemurian seed quartz essence, which I have prepared and can provide to whoever wants to try it, is really brilliant for doing this. And I mean, everyone who I've shared it with has like absolutely loved this essence and has really been uplifted by it and feels the power of it. And I prepared it on the Lion's Gate, on the A8 Stargate. And it is, it's magical stuff. The night before I prepared it, I went and I did some pretty like serious sun gazing at sundown at a sacred site at a new 5D kind of gateway portal that I helped to, I think, do some important activations for and grid work at in the Bruce Peninsula, which is in Ontario, kind of, it's not really northern Ontario, but kind of, we'll just say like middle kind of Ontario. And it's it's a very beautiful grotto site that's got these turquoise waters from the way that the water kind of beats up on these rocks there, which is very kind of symbolic and indicative of like the connection of that site to the Lemurian frequencies. It's just like this color here. So this is like the color of Lemuria. And so really like it was just, what was really magical was that what I saw the light of the sun, and then I saw behind it, I saw this very bright white ring. And I wasn't really 100% sure what it was at the time, but it was serious, which makes sense. It makes sense that that would be serious because it was the Lion's Gate. So you've got this perfect alignment of our sun with Sirius. And then what was happening was that all this like dark clouds were forming in a column, mostly below the sun and Sirius, and then above it as well. And then again, this goes all the way, I think, to, it's like all the gates that I was speaking of, including the galactic center. And what was happening was all these kind of like hazy dark clouds were forming into this column, and then little clumps kept getting pulled in to the sun. And it was kind of like funny because it was like, it would be like a strand, like all of a sudden it was like some force had reached out and pulled a clump, and then it would just kind of like quickly do a squiggle and then get absorbed into the sun, and then another one, and it would do this like squiggle and then it would get absorbed into the sun. I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. And it just kept going and going. And I was like, wow, like I can't, on one level I was like, I can't believe I have the privy to witness what's going on right now with this and the darkness that's being removed from the physical, really, aspect of the 3D, and the sun is helping to remove it. But it was also like a multi-dimensional experience of seeing like just dark energy that, and shadows, we'll just say like shadow forces being like uprooted from our experience of this world, and really just being dissolved and transmuted and alchemized by the sun. And I learned since this time that energy of being able to do that, and out of that to actually remove these energies and absorb them into the sun, is the role of Kali. That the goddess Kali does this for the world, and she's doing it to help to uplift humanity. And so I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that are creating a lot of concern in people. I think there's like a lot of for anyone that's experienced, I think that those traumas earlier in life where they have felt maybe not fully cared for or nurtured by the mother, or I think that like it's like you can really see like people are getting more triggered about us not caring about the earth and not caring about the earth mother, or like seeing people not caring about each other, or being caught up in war, political struggles and arguments, and getting more triggered by seeing an external reflection of a lack of love, of a lack of the nurturing of the mother. And I guess what I'm kind of getting at is like that I guess everything is not always as it seems, and that a lot of this is like I think that sometimes when these energies are getting plucked to be removed, you have to see them like I saw them on the Lion's Gate. You have to see them and see the darkness before it can get taken away. Because the darkness that I saw that getting removed from our experience of time, space, dimension, and reality was something that probably previously had been hidden in the shadows, right? Just like there's things hidden at the bottom of the ocean that we don't see. The light of Silesia comes in to reveal radiance in the ocean, to reveal those shadows, to bring light. And I am going to be providing very, very shortly a guided meditation for free that you'll be able to download to get guided through this experience of bringing the light of Silesia to your life and the energies of Lemuria to your life. I'm very excited about this. And so watch out for it. It's coming soon. And I think it's really the right time. It's really the right time because of all of this stuff being dug up from the muck. We'll just say. I love that term, from the muck. And it's a good thing because looking in the muck is how we create life, right? If we never cultivate the soil in a garden or in an agricultural bed, if we never tend to it, it will go fallow, right? It won't produce life. Life requires maintenance. And sometimes that's very energetic and very spiritual, right? But again, the mirror of having healthy soil, we'll just say, which is the groundwork, the basis of any healthy, sustainable civilization. Whether it's, nomadic or not, really, you need healthy soil. It's a reflection of the health of our soul, of how we've cultivated soul, of how we've brought spirit into our body and aligned with spirit and our physical needs as a human, as a physical flesh, to cultivate a powerful, light expressing, vibrant, grateful, shining soul. And so I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. I'm just like talking, I'm just like kind of rambling. But and it's 2:02. I just saw on my clock 2222, right as I said that. So it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. So yeah, and another card that had come up in a reading recently that came up again, so it's worth kind of talking about it one more time, was about the Tree of Life and about justice. Because that's what this card is in the regular tarot deck. It's the Justice card. And, there's just, it's such an amazing card. There's so much meaning in this card. And if you want to really kind of get into some of the details of that, I recommend watching some of my other videos. I can't remember the exact one where I spoke about it. Sorry. But I think it might have been the Divine Feminine for the last week. But the point really is that I didn't speak about, that I want to add on, is this whole idea of like when we can come to accept that our lives are on a greater cosmic scale, just regardless of things that we perceive to be, that have happened to us that are hurtful, or that feel wrong, or that we feel like we have been wronged. And on a cosmic level, from the highest perspective, right? From the bird's eye view, from the 10,000 foot view of divinity, in a balanced ascended view of, because we've got here the awakened kundalini of the masculine and the feminine come together into one. From that perspective, we can see the cosmic justice, the law of one, the universal law, and how that perhaps, yes, as much as it's been painful or difficult, you're suffering, that from a higher level, all of that has been able to, we'll just say, like, it could have been just to purify you, to be a pure conduit for spirit, to help uplift the earth. If you came here as a volunteer, whether you're an earth angel or another type of star seed, star being, whatever you identify with as being here at this time on Earth to help uplift the planet into more love and light and unity, that perhaps that if those people hadn't done those difficult things, that and those not nice things, you wouldn't have really been able to kind of fast track yourself into that being that wise owl, right? Remembering your, removing some of the limitations of the human flesh, the human ego that doesn't want to grow and change that quickly. And start to, awaken to other lifetimes and other parallel lives where you have a different relationship with the earth, where you have, different kinds of wisdom and spiritual talents and skills and abilities. And that from the highest perspective, like the pain that was required to awaken you to all of this is loving of the whole, of the all. It's just for the all. And it's all in the name of love. And coming into a truest sense of self-love that's fully coming from your divine self, from your divine truth, from your connection with God, from your connection with whatever beings you find most healing, whether it be Jesus or otherwise. And this is how we're really like birthing a new earth, how we're birthing the tree of life reality into the physical world, into Malkuth, right? Like that's the third dimension in the Kabbalistic tree of life. So I really just, was called to speak a little bit more to that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please let me know. You can put in the comments what you thought about my random musings. And I wish you all a very beautiful day, and I will be back soon with more insights, more videos, and more support as we work through this truly transitional time of total rebirth as leaders of the new paradigm, and getting really ready for everything, all the changes coming up in, we'll just say in early 2020 and beyond. So, sending you lots of love, and I hope that you really feel the blessings of this message, the love in my heart from, from my guides and my angels to you and to yours. And have a wonderful day. Namaste.